Hey everybody, I'm Jim Deedlaw, host of JED in the region, here on AM 1230 WJOB 1047, streaming live on the TuneIn app, also on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube in video. In just a little bit, we're going to have a whole bunch of little kids coming in from, I don't know, are they little ones or are they like the middle school ones? And they're going to come in from St. Mary's of Crown Point. And they're going to sit in the studio. So until that point, I'm just thinking about being on bad behavior. And then when they get here, I'll be on good behavior. Is that okay with you, Verly? It's Tuesday.
Oh, Jim, you're always on good behavior.
It's Tuesday. And just because you're here, I brought this in. I was going to eat it before the show. But I thought I would just wait and eat it during the show. Okay? Just as a, kind of an irritation factor. You know what I mean? Just like you irritate him and Maritime McDermott, I'm going to irritate you. Hey, let's take a look at what's going on with traffic. 294 around the city looks pretty good. 80 going east and west looks good. Bishop Ford, we have an accident reported by Big Rich. And if you are someone who juxtaposes the first letters of names, don't do that with Big Rich. And he says there is an accident where the truck is caught on the middle divider and it still hasn't fallen over, so it's a pickup truck. So we are looking at a delay right now from 159th going backwards, but it just happened just a little bit ago, so we'll get a little better idea of exactly how much backup that's going to be, and I'll keep an eye on that. But for right now, just I don't know, maybe you can get through there before it really starts back if you went right now. And the rest of the stuff's moving along pretty well. Traffic brought to you by Napleton River Oaks Honda, proudly serving Northwest Indiana with superior customer service. Hey, let's take a look at the weather, which just sucks. I was here late last night, and we had our kids, students, I shouldn't call them kids, the students at Purdue Northwest. They're doing shows on Monday. They did last night for 2 hours, and they'll do it again tomorrow. I want to thank, we got like 6 or 7 phone calls for them. And I would like to just invite everybody on Wednesday tomorrow and then Monday and Wednesday of next week. I'm grading them on how they do their shows. They've been working hard. And we've got some talented younger broadcasters, and they're doing live radio video shows. And your phone calls helped them out considerably last night because that's really kind of the one weakness they have. These guys and these gals are okay talking to each other, but when they got to talk to the public, they like turn into deer in the headlights. So the more phone calls they can get, it really helps out. But anyways, I was here late last night, and I'm talking to someone in the parking lot at like 9:30, and all of a sudden I go, I'm done talking to you, man. It's 28 degrees out here. I'm out of here. I'm freezing my ass off. And if you're outside, that would be the same thing. It's 28 degrees right now on April 17th. God doesn't like baseball, I think it what it is, or softball.
I'm glad you got that word out before the kids came.
Freezing?
The part that came after that.
Freezing.
Freezing mind.
Freezing is not a bad word. I don't, Verly just kind of gets a little ahead of herself there. Hey, sunny and not as cold, but still cold. It's 28 degrees right now at the Strack and Van Til Studios on the campus of Purdue Northwest. And going up to a high of 43 tomorrow, but an afternoon shower tomorrow, a little grayer tomorrow. But by Thursday, another little bit of clouds in the morning and then some sun, high again around 42, 43. And then Friday, it actually warms up to 50, and Saturday, a high of 50. I have been nominated to throw out the first pitch for Munster Little League at 9:30 on Saturday morning. And I told Dan Gillardin that I would do that if it does not dip below 40 degrees. If it's 40 degrees, I'm going to stay in my garage and listen to Grateful Dead tunes. So it's kind of going to be tight because the low on Friday night is 30 degrees. So maybe it will be. It'll be like 38. We'll be out there. And I'm going to go anyways. But thanks a lot to those folks. Also, yesterday I went out and shopped at Strack and Van Til's at 30 and US 41. And I want to say hi to Janelle. She works in the deli, and she is an old Hammond gal. Not old, but I mean she grew up in Hammond and knows all my cousins and so forth. And she did a great job putting together a nice chicken dinner for me. And then the gals in the bakery directing me to all the gluten-free section. It's really a very a very happy place to be. But I ran into Greg Duncanson. He is a longtime Hammond firefighter. His dad used to be the chief, Wayne Duncanson, and Greg is on his way, I guess, to retirement or can retire at the end of the year. And we had a long talk about his brother-in-law, Steve Stanek, and the many escapades of Mr. Stanek. But both of them show an affinity for the Phoenix area, so I may be going out there in the near future to visit a couple of firefighters from Hammond. You know, isn't that just weird? You go all that way and hang out in the desert with a couple of firefighters from Hammond. Burley Suggs is here. How you been, by the way?
Oh, I'm fine.
We got little kids coming in here. Is that going to slow us down or what?
Not at all. You can teach them good examples.
I could tell you that I am having a ball teaching 10 people sports broadcasting, and they have really taken to it. As a matter of fact, you know what my big dilemma is right now?
What's that?
I got 10 very dedicated broadcasting students, and they're all acing the stuff. So, I mean, I'm like, how do you get a curve when everybody's just hitting it on all cylinders? You know what I mean? How do you give other people P's and C's, you know? I don't know. I don't know what to do. You gave me 10 great students. I don't know what happened is they listed the class, and it just was a regular class. And then for some reason they didn't have anybody to teach it, so the last day I took it. So it wasn't as if I got to, you know, like a bunch of people said, "Hey, you know what? You're going to be able to go on JOB," and then you got other people from other departments are taking it as an elective. No, it's just all strict broadcast, and they're all very serious, and it's great. So I had them on last night, and for the first time, you know how it is. You do a show, and it's always it doesn't have a flow, and you know you don't have an interaction right with the people, and it just doesn't go. And then all of a sudden, for about an hour last night, it kind of clicked in for the 6 or 7 people involved, and that was a beautiful thing to see. Doesn't happen. Hey, let's talk about...
Jim, what's going on with your hair today? It's a distraction.
What's wrong with it? Is it too flat?
Well, the front, it's got this little puffy thing going. Like you almost backcombed it. Like, take the headphones off and put them back on again.
Can I tell you about white...
You're on camera.
Hey, can I tell you about white people's hair?
But you're distracting me.
Okay. I don't know, like I'm jealous of people like Don Lemon, okay? Every night I watch Don Lemon, okay? You know, I don't know why I like watching Don Lemon, but I do. And all I can think about is, man, he's got black people's hair, and he would be perfect to put one of these headsets on. But it would just sit right in there.
He shaves his hair all the way off, then he lets it grow a little, then he lets it grow a little more, then he cuts it again. So, I mean, he still does different things with it. My only thing is, just take your headphone on and then put it back on. Because it's got this little puffy thing going. There you go.
You don't like that little puffy, little curly Q at the top?
Well, I didn't know if you had your headband on this morning outside in the cold.
I did. I wore a hat.
That's
and
what it
so
was.
You get that extra static. But let me tell you about like older white guy hair. It gets really straw-like. And it's not even like, even if you wash it and you put conditioner in it, an hour later it's like steel wool. And it just kind of sticks there, and there's not anything you could do about it. And then if you put gel in it, it just thins out, and you see right to your scalp more easily. So you got to leave the steel wool effect. I go with my nephew, Jack, and he's always trying to get me to wear gel and do that to my hair.
Uh-huh.
And he'll even do it. He'll put it in my hair, and then he'll comb it for me. And then I'll be like, Jack, but you can see I got a white head under there that is just showing like crazy. You can't see it as well when the hair's all messed up, so just leave it be all messed up. No, Uncle Jim, it doesn't look professional.
Exactly.
Hey,
so listen to your nephew.
Hey, let's talk. We've got the feds are busy people yesterday.
Oh my gosh. Yes, they found Ethel Shelton, former secretary of Mary Elgin, guilty.
According to the Times, let's just read their version of it. Or you want Becky Jacobs or you want Bill Dolan's? Let's see what we got.
Fine.
Let's do Becky Jacobs out of Post Tribune. Ethel Shelton wept as the jury in her public corruption trial found her guilty Monday in Hammond's federal court. Oh, no, 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 Shelton cried. Why did they do this to me? Juries deliberated for more than 11 hours before reaching verdicts in the public corruption trial of former Calumet Township trustee Mary Elgin's office. Shelton is 72 and Alex Wheeler is 68. Wheeler and Shelton, Elgin's secretary, were accused of conspiracy to commit wire fraud and conspiracy to commit honest services wire fraud. As they waited for the jury to enter the courtroom with their decision, Wheeler straightened his tie while Shelton rocked in her chair to grab a couple tissues. Wheeler's verdicts were read first, not guilty on both counts. Larry Rogers, Wheeler's attorneys, put his hand on Wheeler's shoulders. I'm happy for Alex. He's sad for Ethel. They've been friends a long time. So Larry Rogers, wasn't he one of the guys?
He was one of Bunce's attorneys.
He was one of Bunce's attorneys.
Yes.
Which one was he?
He's the one that kind of a bigger guy, the heavier set guy, had his hair, dark hair combed back.
And then who's the other guy that was sitting there all the time with Buncich? What's his name? Somebody text me. Come on, 219-845-1100. Text my phone. Who was the other attorney? And anyways, I thought Larry Rogers did a good job in the Buncich trial.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he had a kind of a tough set of facts. As soon as they showed that video of Tim Downs handing the cash to Buncich and him putting it in his top drawer, game over. It doesn't matter how good of an attorney you are. But let's look at this. Larry Rogers is as Alex. What's Alex?
Alex Wheeler.
Alex Wheeler's attorney, and he gets off.
Well, the thing about it, he didn't even put his client on the stand. And so I was like, would it have helped if they hadn't put Ethel on the stand? Because they said that Rogers was saying that basically the prosecution didn't show that his client was guilty. So he didn't even put him on the stand. I mean, Ethel got on the stand and she was honest about everything that she was required to do as the secretary for Mary Elgin, and they found her guilty. So the fact that she was instructed to do these things by her boss didn't take any weight with the jury.
Okay, so I want everybody to listen to this, okay? There's a lot of people that work for public officials, okay? And here's what Ethel Shelton, she said, I didn't do it. It was just my job. This is what she says. Okay, so, I know that, and, nobody really says this out loud because we're all like, afraid of the feds, okay? But let's just look at their job, okay? How deep do these folks go to eradicate corruption in Lake County? We just saw with Sheriff John Buncich that they ran a 4.5-year sting. 4.5 years, Scott Jurgensen was a federal informant. And, maybe it's time to get some folks in here to say, where else do you have inform? Now, they have ongoing informants that are like in the drug community, or they go and they look at different people and they're in communities where they'll inform. But this was a one-person target for 4.5 years. Now let's take a look at Ethel Shelton. Say that again, Verley. Ethel's thing was basically that
she was the secretary. She did what she was instructed to do. She wrote down the list of the people who had the tickets. Alex Wheeler was one of the deputies who was required to distribute tickets to people under him. But she kept track of who paid for their tickets, who returned their tickets. And she kept minutes of the meetings. She kept Mary Elgin's schedule for her. Basically, those are the things she said she did.
So here's the deal. There are overt messages here to anybody who is an elected official. And then there are the non-overt messages to people who may be thinking about joining this group or are tangentially related. Okay. Now let's look at the Buncich case. The Buncich case is that don't take bribes. And that's what he did. Okay. It took 4.5 years to find him. But look at the second part of that. What is the other thing? It took 4.5 years to go after him. The feds were investigating him electronically, and they turned his second in command against him, and they went after him for 4.5 years, and they were going to get him. What is the message to people that are looking to get involved in politics here in Lake County?
If you even think that there's a gray line, it's not gray, it's black. And if you cross over it, then you can possibly be facing charges and end up spending time in a federal prison. And there are a lot of people who will say that, wow, they're probably thinking, I do this all the time for my boss. There's a lot of questionable stuff that is always going on with Lake County. And it's far more blatant than what Miss Shelton just got found guilty of.
Let's get to Miss Shelton in a second. So, one of the things that, as kind of like taking a social philosophy look at what's going on here in Lake County is that ultimately, I share with you guys that, I took Larry Peterson and Irv Lewin's attitude a long time ago. It's a circus. I'm just going to use it for entertainment. It doesn't really get better. But in the heart of hearts, I want it to get better. I want more qualified people, more ethical people, more, a lot of times educated people to get into these positions and fight it out and try to get into them. But if you're going to go into office and you're almost going to accept that from the moment you get into some of these offices that you're under complete investigation by federal authorities, or at least all the people around you are, and electronic communications are monitored, and you get a feeling that kind of like the feds are everywhere. What kind of person do those offices attract? In other words, if you go so deep and so long, does the actual prosecution and investigation of like everyone kind of do exactly what it wasn't supposed to do? In other words, you wind up getting the same people running for the offices. You wind up getting the same kind of people getting into the offices. They know the corruption guidelines, and they keep getting in, and then the feds have a continuous stream of people that they continue to find guilty and send to prison. In other words, the outcome could be seen as almost the exact opposite of what you're trying to get done. And I don't know, I don't necessarily agree with that, but I've had somebody put that to me, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe there is some reluctance from good people to get involved in Lake County politics because it's been corrupt for so long. But also because now you know that as soon as you go in there, if you're not under investigation, perhaps a bunch of people around you are under investigation, and the feds have shown their cards of how deep they'll go and how many years they'll stay doing it. And does that keep people from getting involved? Now let's look at the second message.
Can you take your caller?
No. I'm not. I'm not taking a call right now because I don't understand this. I want to know where this sets and so.
You pontificate all the time.
Let's talk about Ethel Shelton. What is the message for people who work in offices?
The message is that you might as well not take a political job, because if you don't do what your boss says, you're going to either face firing or the feds. So if Ethel Shelton had told Mary Elgin, no, I'm not doing it, because remember, she didn't start out as a secretary. She started out, I believe, in the finance department. She got the promotion to be the administrative secretary. And I think she got it when they moved into the new building. So when she moves in, she takes a new position. Then she finds out what the duties of her position are, what she was required to do. Now, if she had told Ms. Elgin, I'm not going to do it, there's lots of people from township and other government entities that have lost jobs. They'll say, oh, we're downsizing. Oh, we're laying off, what have you. We got Griffith on our back. We got to make some cuts here in the Calumet Township. That's happened to a lot of people. The gentleman who came forward as their confidential witness actually was an individual whose time was cut back, position cut back, salary cut back as a result of them cutting the money that they were spending to get in compliance for Griffith. Okay, so then he's not happy. He's disgruntled. He goes to the feds. He agrees to put a wire on and to, follow Miss Elgin and other people in the office. And this is the basis of the case. So you either Do what they say or you don't have a job. Me, I would never take a government job because there's no way I'm going to do what they say, first of all, and I'm not going to do anything wrong.
So what is the message for, there's a lot of government employees around here. What's the message to them today as a secretary stood trial?
Do it. But these people need their jobs. They pay mortgages, they pay rent, they have car notes. They do what they're supposed to do. And this is such a wake-up call for any person in a menial position who has been doing it, keeping someone's schedule for their campaign, handing out the tickets. You know, I was just listening, and don't get upset with me for saying this, but you just ran a commercial for an individual who's running for office. Is there a little bit of a gray line that is crossed right there? This is a commercial paid for. This is a commercial paid for by an office, a position, but the individual still running for office. There was just a big article in the Post-Tribune on Sunday, and I thought I had it with me, and I was going to ask Jimmy if he could grab Sunday's Post-Tribune, talking about Ty Rikita and some of the things that he did in his office and how his staffers feel very uncomfortable doing what he instructed them to do, and how he went on a database to further his campaign. There was a lot of stuff in there that was far more egregious than what Ethel Shelton did. And she sat in a federal courthouse for 2 weeks and was found guilty.
All right, let's look at the other side of that. Okay, let's look at the other side of that. We have been a corrupt area for so long that perhaps the only way to really send the message all the way through is to go to every level, every possible thing they could find. You see what I'm saying? In other words, yes, they go after Buncich for 4.5 years, okay? And they get him on 15 grand bribery, and he goes to jail for 15 years. And that sends a huge message to any office holder. Now you've got Ethel Shelton here. She is a secretary. She's like, dude, I was just doing what I was told.
So if she had flipped on Mary Elgin, would she have been considered the confidential witness? Because there were people in the Buncich trial who were just as guilty and just as involved that went ahead and turn what, state's evidence?
I get that, but maybe the only way, like what is the ultimate outcome of all this stuff? We'll get to that in a second. What is the ultimate outcome of going really, really deep into all levels of government and really sparing no expense? Can you rid of a good portion of our corruption that way?
I don't know, but let me just read this real quick to you, because this is from Sunday's Post-Tribune. And it says, Rikita's actions were clearly a no. Using your government staff for political business during their workday while they are using government resources, that's well across the line and not a hard call. Now, they said that Rikita had drawn scrutiny for mixing official business with politics. And it goes on and on about some of the things he did. But he's not facing charges. The former school superintendent, Tony Bennett, used his office to further his campaign. He just ended up losing his job in Florida. So
Brian Truitt, that's who it was.
Truitt, that was the other one.
Wait, we got to hit some spots and we'll take some phone calls. Be right back on the voice and face of the region.
On May 8th, vote for Democrat Andrew Silvestrowitz for Lake County Clerk of Circuit Courts. Andrew is a qualified Democrat and has 12 years of experience as a councilman in Maryville at every facet of government. Make your vote count with Andrew Silvestrowitz for Clerk of Circuit Courts. Paid for by Committee to Elect Democrat Andrew Silvestrowitz.
I am Andrew Silvestrowitz, and I approve this message.
Jedi's Garden Family Restaurant, located at the corner of Klein and Ridge, is Griffith's locally owned family restaurant with a down-home feel and made-from-scratch favorites you will love. Open daily from 5 a.m. to midnight, Jedi's has you covered with breakfast omelets, salads, stir-fry, seafood, and steak sandwiches. In addition to our award-winning lemon rice soup, 4 additional soups are served daily. Along with our recently expanded spirits menu, Mondays are half-price margaritas, and Wednesdays are $1 off domestics. Mention WJOB for 20% off your order. We'll see you at Jedi's at the corner of Klein and Ridge.
Looking to advance your career? Earn a master's degree in technology online in just 18 months from Purdue University Northwest. Our graduates tell us their master's degree in technology, leadership, and management results in promotion and higher pay. Call Purdue Northwest at 219-989-2966. That's 219-989-2966 to get ahead today.
Do you have a family history of heart disease or diabetes? St. Catherine Hospital Cardiovascular Prevention Center providers are offering free assessments to help determine your risk for heart disease and other related medical conditions. On Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 9 to 11:30 a.m., you can stop by the center at 7217 Indianapolis Boulevard in Hammond for assessments like an ABI leg circulation test, blood pressure, body mass index, random glucose assessment, and more. You must be 18 or older, and walk-ins are welcome. You have only one body. Let St. Catherine Hospital of Community Healthcare System help you take care of it. You can also call 219-392-7CVP to book an appointment today.
Yeah, what are you going to do when you grow up? Me, I'm going to talk on the radio, and that's what we're doing right now on AM 1230, WJLB 104.7 FM, also on the TuneIn app if you want to just listen and you're driving around in, say, Paducah, or in Las Vegas, or in St. Cloud, or wherever you might go. Just carry us with you in your pocket. It's like the old days, you know, the old grandpa at a game, listening to a transistor radio of the game that he's watching. I learned that from my grandpa. Go to a Cubs game. Grandpa, what are you doing? Oh, I'm listening to the game. Grandpa, we're here watching the game. Yeah, but I'm listening to Jack Brickhouse. That's how you do it. Well, now you got that in your pocket. Just pull your, go click. Tune in.
My mother always listened to the radio while she was watching the game. Listening to the game on the radio.
What was she a big fan of?
The Mets, of course.
Aren't the Mets 12-2 right now, right?
65 World Series. She waited in line for hours to get those tickets.
Really?
Yeah. And
then somebody tried to
rob her for them.
Got any pictures of that?
I doubt it.
You don't have any pictures of her at the 65 World Series?
Probably not.
Do you look like your mom?
I got pictures of my sister, the ball girl for the Mets.
Do you look like your mom?
No, we don't look anything alike.
Really?
Yeah.
Where do you think this guy's going? Look at this. It's April 17th. This guy is dressed like he is going to hike the Arctic tundra.
No, he's got like a North Face jacket on and a cup of coffee in his hand.
And he's got a hat on and a scarf.
Some nylon sweatpants.
Yeah, well, underneath got his gotchis. Hey, listen, what do you have in terms of traffic? You know what? This accident on the Bishop Ford's causing some problems. We heard it from Big Rich first, and it is backing things all the way up onto to Torrance on what is known as the Kingery Expressway right there. And I wouldn't go that way right now. Actually, the Bishop Ford is bad for a while up there. And then once you get past that, it's wide open all the way into the city. 294 around the city looks good. 80 going east and west looks good. The Skyway Toll Road, Barman, I-65, US 30, Klein Avenue, those are all moving along pretty well. Don't forget, Indianapolis Boulevard is just a constant headache as you have that between Meyer and Webb Ford. And all day long, I drive that thing like 3 or 4 times a day, and it's such a big hassle. And my nephew Jack is like, Uncle Jim, how do they cut out the middle of the road and the rest of the road doesn't fall in? Like, I don't know, man. Beats the Sam Hill out of me, but there's a big hole right in the middle of the 2 lanes on that big bridge, and they're fixing it. Hey, what do you got? And thanks a lot to Napleton River Oaks Honda, proudly serving Northwest Indiana with superior customer service. And let us take a look at what's going on in the weather. You know what? It's just so cold and so nasty, and everybody's just, everywhere you go, everybody's just kind of yakking about it. High of 42, partly sunny, not as cold today. Tomorrow, high of 43, an afternoon shower or two. And then Thursday, a high of 44, clouds giving way to some sun. The big news is that Ethel Shelton has been found guilty. She is the assistant to Mary Elgin, the secretary. And she was found guilty, but another assistant in that office, Alex Wheeler, was found not guilty yesterday in federal court. We also need to talk about another bust that the feds did, and this is a crazy one, of this guy maybe looking to maybe blow some stuff up. They found a bunch of child porn on his computer.
Blow up his neighbor.
Yeah, he was going to try to, I guess, blow up his.
A car?
He was. They said they thought he was connecting wires from a light in the car to the fuel tank, but they noticed it and somehow led back to this guy. And then they went and checked his hard drives, and he had some pretty deep, according to the feds.
Him and a child under 11.
Yeah, and they had a 6-year-old related activity with a 6-year-old, child molesting stuff. I'm glad we're getting rid of that before we get these kids coming into the studio here. Hey, let's take some phone calls. Let's see how Dave's been doing. Dave on local 599 phone line. Dave, what's going on?
Good morning, Jed. Good morning, Verley.
Good morning, Dave.
Verley, there's one thing I'm learning about. This is my first election cycle living in Gary. They put signs everywhere and anywhere.
And I drove through your community. Oh, my gosh, there's so many signs in Miller.
I tell you, there's, you're not supposed to put it on public property.
They put it on right-of-ways in Gary.
Or any sort of easement.
Yes.
I mean, coming out of Highland, they pretty much monitored that with an iron fist. But I tell you, they hang them and put them everywhere.
They sure do.
So I find that to be amusing. And technically, legally, that's litter, but hopefully they'll come back and clean them up. If
well,
not,
there's still signs up from the last election, so.
Yeah, exactly. Jed, I'm going to hit something, what you said about the feds coming into the area, and then I'm going to ask one more question for both of you to hang up and listen. I think you're right. I think the feds made a decision that they're not going to leave any door unopened. They're going to check broom closets. They're going to clean everything. I think I happen to feel that you're right. Whenever that decision was made 5 years ago, 10 years ago, well, we know it was at least 5 years ago, being disgraced ex-sheriff. They were, keeping an eye on him for 4 years. But, yeah, I'm going on years on that one. They've been here a while, and they made a decision.
What's the effect of that? In other words, I think it's
unturned.
I mean, it was kind of like in a barrel for a long time, where you could kind of get GUEA, and you had the East Chicago Concrete, and then even like say Van Til and Philpott. I mean, they were pretty sloppy in what they were doing, and you could just kind of see those things. But now they're going deeper. 4.5 years an undercover guy. Now they're going after secretaries. I mean, it's a much deeper cut by the feds. And there's two ways of thinking. One is that ultimately they're just going to cut it all out, kind of like a cancer. Or are they going to go so deep that they're going to keep good people from coming into government?
I don't think they'll ever keep good people from coming in.
Good people coming into government. I don't even know what that means. Maybe you can elaborate that. But the second thing I wanted to hit, I read in the paper, was Gleason Golf Course. And I love Gleason Golf Course.
Sell it.
But it is in jeopardy right now with the Gary Parks Department. And I know the mayor's going to do whatever she can, but they only operate like on a $2.3 million budget, the parks. So that's it's. And they're looking for a public-private partnership in regards to maintaining Gleason, and that would be a shame because that's a huge parcel of land, and it's the clubhouse has historical status to it. It's old Tudor clubhouse, which is beautiful, and it's an average golf course, for the area, but nevertheless, it's kind of special. I used to play it all the time, but those are the two things I wanted to hit, and maybe you can elaborate a little bit more or not. But have a great day.
Did you ever break 40 at Gleason?
Yeah, absolutely.
You?
Oh,
on 9 holes. 40 on the 9 holes. You broke 40 at 9 holes at Gleason.
Oh, I was a 8 handicap for a long time.
Really? I just wouldn't.
Yeah, I was in the golf industry for years.
For such a Bobby Barbell like you, I just didn't think it.
So, Dave, what do you think, that they should privatize it? Just like the Genesis Center, I mean, that's a problem as well.
There's just so many things that they're exploring. Nobody, I don't think anyone, even the mayor, wants to come out and commit 100% that it's for sale, but it's, I'm just not really big on public-private partnerships in regards to, government, because it always seems like the taxpayers always get stuck with the bill, and whoever the private partnership skims the profits off the top, and we get stuck with the bill. So
well, in full disclosure, as Jim likes to say, and this is why I don't do it. Everyone knows I know everybody. Okay, the park director was one of my former co-hosts, Nate George. I mean, not co-host, but I had him on the radio. He did a great show called Real Talk. Very brilliant young man, and he's trying to do a lot as the director of the park department. And Hudson Campbell, he's done a tremendous job there. They got to deal with a lot of parks in Gary and not a lot of money, and a lot of entities that are not making money. So if the park department cannot afford to maintain Gleason Park to make it the type of golf course that people want to go to, and somebody else is willing to come in and invest some money, because I mean, my husband goes there to golf. A lot of the fraternities and organizations have fundraisers there.
Is he any good?
To the, he's a good golfer.
How about me? How about me, Mike Suggs, and Dave Gearman go golfing at Gleason?
I mean, you should. I mean, it would take more people to come and go.
But here,
wait, we gotta go. We gotta go. We're gonna bring a bunch of kids into the studio here in a second. Thanks. Hold on. Talk to you.
Oh, they're getting ready to have refreshments right
now.
They're
getting ready to have refreshments. All right. Well, when they're done, they're gonna come sit with us here. But hey,
are the speakers on out there so that they can hear?
I don't know, Mad Mac. We got a bunch of kids here, so you better keep it clean.
You want me to talk about? Oh, I got you. Okay. So this lady was specifically. You like that?
You didn't know what to say. I've never heard you go like, "Oh, I better behave." All right, good.
Wake the heck up there, Jimmy.
All right, go ahead.
So this lady was specifically accused of what? Is she put in time during the day on the political campaign, more or less, by being involved with the process of in the logistical process of distributing tickets? Is that it? Is that basically the charge she got found guilty of?
Let me see here. She was executive secretary and friend to former Calumet Township trustee Mary Elgin.
Now, I hate to ask.
Elgin and her son.
Mary Elgin in jail yet or no?
Elgin and her son, Steve Hunter, pleaded guilty to compelling township employees to give her campaign 1% of their wages, as well as work on her campaign during work hours. Shelton and Wheeler's defense attorney said their clients were only minor figures on Elgin's staff, and there is no credible evidence they were part of any illegal conspiracy. And Stafford Garbutt, how do you say that guy's name? Garbutt, a former...
Hey, there's kids in the studio.
Yeah, I know. Well, anyways, I guess she was helping in furtherance of getting that 1% out of people, and also in doing campaign work on county time. So I guess that those
guilty as hell. Now, why didn't the other guy get found guilty? Wasn't he doing the same thing?
I don't know. I didn't sit through the trial, but I mean, they deliberated for 11 hours for a federal trial. That's kind of a lot. Typically,
I got to tell you, Jimmy, all they'd have to do is go back and take every single employee that worked in the Calumet Township office there, every single one of them, back probably 30 years. You bring them all to trial, they'd all be found guilty in 15 minutes, okay?
And what would that accomplish?
Every single one of them that worked up there.
But what would that accomplish? Say you were that was true. What if you applied that all the way around at every level of every government here in Lake County? How many people?
I'm not saying at every level. I'm saying in Cal Township only.
All right, but you have Lake County Lake County has had way more corruption problems than Calumet Township has. Why don't you just do it everywhere? Or is that what we're doing right now? We're going really deep on all the levels.
But I don't know enough about everything that goes down in the Brown Building. But in Cal Township, that office there, that's an employment agency for the person who gets elected and then all their family and friends. So take them all out, because that's all they've done is steal from the poor people down there.
Okay, thanks a lot. Talk to you. 219-845-1100. Hey, how are the donuts, huh? They're pretty good? Hey, during the break, Ryan, why don't we move all the chairs in here and we'll bring them in behind me, okay? So you guys will come into the studio. So if you need to talk, do it now, because once you come in here, you'll have to be quiet. It'll be like going to church, okay? You'll have to, like, I'll be the priest. Like, when the priest's talking, you guys can't say anything. I won't be the priest. I mean, it'll be similar.
You'll be the altar boy.
Whatever. I'm sorry. Let's talk to Dave. Hi, Dave. How are you?
I'm good. One question. When you meet your NISA boys later, ask when Tim Downs is going to prison. What are we waiting for? This guy sold his badge. He admitted that he was a scum-sucking pig. Find out when he's going to prison. When is he going to pay for it?
You know, I haven't heard anything on that.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
4 years. You said 4 years with Buncich for the investigation. When is Tim Downs, when he was paid to be a cop out here doing the job with all the crime in the Calumet region, when is Tim Downs going to prison?
Okay, so let's just look at this structural relationship. Okay, you have Lake County Sheriff John Buncich, and then you have one of his assistants in Tim Downs. Okay, he's also in a lot of trouble and may go to prison, but at least was turned on his boss. Then you go to Mary Elgin's office, and they went after Alex Wheeler and Ethel Shelton. I guess I'm just thinking about this. Do you think there's a trend? Do you think that the feds are now going to start targeting the second-in-commands in these offices, or the thirds, or some of the assistants? Dave, what do you think?
Well, I think they're two different issues altogether, and I agree with Burley. She was doing what her boss told her to do, and Downs was just wrong. Downs knew why as a cop, why you take the job. You know it's not going to be great pay, but Downs knew all along what he was doing was wrong. I don't know if the secretary, again, agreeing with Burley, I don't know if that secretary knew what she was doing was wrong. Did she?
Well, she's saying she doesn't.
She said that at one point she questioned Miss Elgin about whether or not they should be doing this. She claimed that she did the tickets during lunch hours and breaks and never during her work time. But she also, I think, was caught on tape saying that, should we be doing this? What about what happened to George Van Til?
Yeah,
Dave, I don't know, man. It's another sad day in Lake County, and every time these come up, I try to make sense of it and try to put it into context, and it doesn't work. It's just babble. I'm sorry. I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. It's just babble. You know how many times I sat here and did the same thing in 1985, covering the same stories. Anyway, sorry. I don't mean to. I got to keep it clean. We got a bunch of.
You got to keep it clean anyway. You have children listening while they drive to school with their parents.
What are you doing, Bill? Are you going to make sense of all this?
Well, just a couple of things, Jed. This stuff about. What about happened to George Van Til? It is the classic statement of a crook that is caught. They point to someone else who is caught in wrongdoing, so they say, you should excuse my wrongdoing.
That's not what
Yes, it is.
No, hold on a second.
Just be quiet. Be quiet.
Who are you talking to? First of all, you got it out of context. What was said was on tape, not in the trial. She never said, what about George Van Til in trial?
You just said that.
No, I didn't say that. Why don't you listen?
I'm listening. You just said that.
Then I did not say that. What I said was she was recorded. Hold on one second and just listen. She was recorded working in the office when Jabalt was taping them, and she said, should we be doing this at work? Look at what happened to George Van Til. She didn't say that in trial.
That's exactly what I just said.
That's not taking an excuse. She's questioning her bosses.
You interrupt me and start screaming. Let me talk to you.
I'm screaming, but you're not raising your voice, right? But of course, because I'm a woman, I'm screaming.
No. I've had men scream at me, too.
I can imagine why.
Stop this resort to gender bias stuff. I mean, it's getting pretty boring. Let me talk to Jed.
We can talk about boring, but go ahead.
This stuff, Jed, about speculating when juries are out. I mean, you people are not in the profession. People that have tried, many of them, have given up speculating long ago. You don't know what's going on in that jury room with 7 or 8 people, whether it's long, short, or indifferent. And this.
Well, hold on a second. I mean, no one's speculating what's going on in there, but you have one guilty and one not guilty, and it's a lot longer. I mean, I've covered these trials since '85. They don't go lately. They haven't gone 11 hours. I mean, back in the day, I remember camping out outside of the old courthouse, waiting 2 days for verdict. But
well, I've been trying them since 1978, and I can't figure it out.
Good. All right. Hey,
as far as Mary Elgin and the rest, an outstanding lawyer who's been deceased for a year, Bill O'Rourke had it straight. Let's build a Lake County Corrupt Politicians Hall of Fame. I mean, it would be massively attended. I don't know if we have room for it in Lake County.
Talk to you. Thanks a lot. Hey, we'll be right back on the voice and face of the region. It's another sad day, another guilty verdict of a local official, and that is Ethel Shelton, a 73-year-old woman out of Gary. A jury has convicted the executive secretary of former Calumet Township.
Jim, she wasn't an official, and that's what she is not an elected official.
I didn't say elected official.
But you said official, and she wasn't an official. So are we saying that every secretary is an official?
Well, I mean, if you work for the government, and are you an official? I guess it's kind of a fine line. If you work for the government, are you a government official?
I think that if you're in a position with a title, you might be a government official.
Okay,
I don't know. Would you consider a secretary an official? And if that's the case, well.
Well, I mean, I guess it's just a play on words. So what would be the right term for
I think
Ethel
an official
Shelton?
is a person who's in control. She was an employee of the Calumet Township Trustee's office.
A jury has convicted the executive secretary of a former Calumet Township trustee and acquitted her former campaign manager of public corruption. So Ethel Shelton is quite distraught over it. She was found guilty. Alex Wheeler,
I think her salary was. I gotta look. I have her salary down here.
All right, hey guys, we'll be right back here on the voice and face of the region.
My name is Ernie Dillon.
My name is Joe.
My name is Bill Emerson Sr.
We are veterans supporting our fellow veteran, Rich Novak, for North Township Board.
Rich is experienced, dedicated, hardworking, and professional.
Remember, vote on Tuesday, May 8th.
Approved and paid for by the collective vet, Richard J. Novak.
Laborers Local 41, together with Indiana Laborers Training Center and our signatory employers, provide state-of-the-art instruction in all areas of the construction industry, from hazardous material handling and environmental remediation to road construction and highway safety. Remember to slow down in construction zones and that the Local 41 members working there are mothers, fathers, coaches, and mentors. Laborers Local 41. We build Indiana in more ways than one.
For a fast and friendly car wash, go to Easy Clean Car Wash. Easy Clean is happy to announce their new location's grand opening at 1637 45th Street in Griffith. Open 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week. Or stop by one of our 3 other locations in Highland, Cherville, and Lansing. Free vacuuming, carpet shampooer, air freshener, and towel with every wash. And it's fast, easy, convenient, safe, and gentle. Go to myeasyclean.com for more information.
Rush Radiosurgery deploys revolutionary technology in the fight against prostate cancer in just 5 outpatient treatments. With radiosurgery treatment for prostate cancer, there is no pain, no surgery, and you can go back to your normal activities right after treatment. Prostate cancer does not fight fair, and neither should you. For more information, contact Rush Radiosurgery at 312-942-4600 or visit us at rushradiosurgery.com.
No case is typical. Results will vary by patient, and there's no guarantee other patients will experience these results.
John Salzader, Democratic candidate for North Township Advisory Board. You have heard me on these airways before talking about my family charity, its events, and the groups it supports. Now I've decided to run for your North Township Board. I am well qualified and ready to work for you. Elect John Salzader.
Approved and paid for by the committee to elect John Salzader. Men, are you taking Viagra or Cialis for ED? ED should not stand for expensive drugs. If you're taking Viagra, talk with your doctor about Sildenafil. Now you could get the same active ingredient in Viagra in generic 20 milligram tablets for less than $2 each, saving over $30 per dose. Available at Vito's Pharmacy. Call us 219-228-7200 or visit us at vitospharmacy.com.
Vito's Pharmacy.
Save the date, April 19th, for the 2018 Fair Housing Act's 50th Anniversary Celebration and Awards Reception being held at the Center for Visual and Performing Arts in Munster from 3 to 8 p.m. At 3 p.m., there will be a continuing education class. From 5 to 6:30 p.m., enjoy a cocktail reception, and 6:30 to 8 p.m., program and awards. Tickets in advance are $35 or $45 at the door. A portion will go to NWIRA programs. That's April 19th from 3 to 8 p.m. Hosted by Lake County Housing Task Force and Bankers Community Council of NWIRA.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're live on the air here at AM 1230 WJOB on 104.7 FM. If you want to see what it's like to wear a uniform to a Catholic school, just log on to our Facebook feed at WJOB.1230 or on Twitter or on YouTube. And you see a bunch of kids from St. Mary's and Crown Point. We'll get to them in just a second. We got to take a look at traffic first, as you have some problems. It actually got a little bit better. 294 around the city looks pretty good. 80 going out to Joliet looks good, but there's an accident in downtown Joliet for anybody coming back this way. They may have a little bit of delay. The Bishop Ford had an earlier accident at 159th, and that has gotten a little bit better as of late. So you can go through that area, just slow you down a little bit. Same thing at the merge, but it's really kind of a light day up the Bishop Ford and the Dan Ryan. Skyway Toll Road, Portman, I-65, US 30, Klein Avenue. Those are all moving along pretty well. And in terms of what's happened, thanks a lot to Napleton River Oaks Honda, proudly serving Northwest Indiana with superior customer service. Also, thanks a lot to Laborers Local 41 for sponsoring the weather. Of course, I'm a former laborer myself, and a high of 40 today, but right now it's 28 degrees here at the Strachan Van Til Studios on the campus of Purdue Northwest. It's 28 degrees at Local 395 of the Ironworkers out in Porter County, and it is 29 degrees at the Carpenters Millwrights facility on I-65 there in Maryville. And so really 42, 43, 44 are your highs for the next 3 days. And then on Friday and Saturday, you actually get a high of 50. A little bit of sunshine, though, in the next 4 days, except for tomorrow. Kind of gray day and maybe some rain. So we have a couple of stories that we had been following, and that is in Calumet Township, the feds got their woman in Ethel Shelton, a 73-year-old woman out of Gary. She was found guilty in federal court of wire fraud and honest services wire fraud, if I remember correctly. Alex Wheeler, another person in that office, was found not guilty. I would also like to remind people that we have some people in the studio right now. Verley? It's usually just you and me arguing.
Oh, do we argue? Or we discuss topics?
We just discuss.
Okay.
It's like when your parents have an argument, and then you say, will you guys quit arguing, Mom and Dad? And then they say, well, we're not arguing. We're just having a loud discussion.
Exactly.
That's what we do.
You know what? Have you guys ever been a studio audience before? Because that's what you are today.
You know what? You guys
You're
are
like at the Ellen DeGeneres show or Wendy Williams.
Does she look like Wendy Williams a little bit? No? All right.
No.
Hey, what's your name? All right, hold on. This one's not on. We got to get it turned on, huh?
Okay.
All right. It's one of these here. I'm sure that, Ryan, it's number 5. Okay, let me see. Testing test. All right, there you go. It's number 5. Let's try it again. What's your name?
Owen Serrano.
Gotta give a shout out to your family.
Say hi.
Hi.
Who? Hold on. Let me turn your mic up there a little bit. All right. Owen Serrano, huh? And let's see. Owen Serrano, how old are you?
I'm 11.
11? What grade?
I'm in 5th grade.
Really? What do you want to be when you grow up?
Professional basketball player.
Who combed your hair this morning?
Me.
Okay. Do you have gel in there?
No.
No. Do you ever wear gel?
No.
Okay, me neither. What's your name?
My name's Aaron Doyle.
Where are you from?
Crown Point.
Aaron,
Really?
hold the mic yourself.
Yeah, will you guys
Otherwise, he's going to stretch too far.
Do you know what?
You guys want to give a shout out to somebody too, like if your family's listening or watching you.
Oh, my dad's listening. I
Is
think.
he really?
What's his name?
His name's Patrick.
Patrick what?
Patrick Doyle.
Patrick Doyle?
Yeah.
What's he like?
He's kind of weird. He woke me up this morning and was like, "Are you ready for your radio debut?"
Aww.
And I told him to go away.
Really? That's kind of that would have to be a really early morning conversation too, huh? You guys aren't used to waking up this early, are you? Can you pass that microphone down there? And what's your name?
Katie Cernacrack.
And where are you from? Crown Point?
Yes.
And what grade are you in?
5th.
So it's time to start thinking about your future, right?
I don't know.
What time did you wake up this morning? You don't even know, do you? Who
No,
woke,
really
who woke you up?
early.
Who woke you up?
My mom.
Really? What'd she say? Get up!
Yes.
Or
What time did you have to be at school so that you could catch the bus here?
6 o'clock.
Oh, so you got up about 5 probably.
Oh, did you eat breakfast yet? Oh, you had one of these rolls out here, huh? Yeah. Are you? You don't drink coffee yet, do you?
No.
Do you ever like smell an adult's breath who drinks coffee? You know what they call that? Teacher breath. Thank you. And what's your name?
Isabella Gonzalez.
What grade are you in?
6th.
So it's 5th and 6th graders there, Mr. Principal, mostly?
We have a 7th grader.
Yeah, okay, good enough.
wow.
And so you're in 6th grade?
Yes.
And what subject do you like to study most? Yeah.
Math.
Why math?
I don't know. I just like it.
You don't like recess or gym or anything? You just like math?
I like math because it's difficult and it makes me learn more, I guess.
Right.
That's great.
You know what? We're on a campus where there's a bunch of people who just study math all the time. Oh, right over here at Purdue. I think you got a future as a Boilermaker. Is that okay? You don't know what that is.
No.
That's all right. Can you pass the microphone down there to, what's your name?
Addison Henry.
Addison, how you doing today?
Good. Thank
Who-
you for the
who-
breakfast.
Oh, did we supply that?
Yes, you did.
Really?
Ryan went and bought it this morning.
Well, you're welcome then. I didn't know we did that. Hey, so you had something before you go to school, huh? So what is your favorite subject at school? You don't even have one yet, do you? It's kind of taking
Social studies.
Social studies. You like studying what people do and where they live and how they make their food and stuff like that. You know what? If you go study social studies and then you go all the way through college, that would make you perfect for one profession. You know what that is?
A radio host.
Hosting a radio show. That's it.
You know what? I used to wear those same knee socks with my uniform when I was going to school. Everyone has the same socks.
How many years
Things
ago?
never change.
How many years ago you think that was? Don't answer that, okay? It's a trick question.
I'll tell you what. It was over 50 years
It was over 50 years ago that she
Yeah,
was wearing
but-
socks like that, and they're still in style. You can go down to Sears and still get
And my
them.
uniform looked pretty much like that, except we didn't wear polo shirts back in the day. We had to wear, a white cotton blouse.
Verly, where did you go to Catholic school?
St. Nicholas of Town in New York.
New York City.
Yeah.
Same idea, same plaid skirts, same. Do you guys go to church
Yeah.
a lot?
Yes.
Yeah. How many times a week?
2.
Twice a week? And then maybe sometimes during like other times, maybe there's a special mass or something.
Mhm.
So,
What day of the week do you go to church? Besides Sunday.
Mondays and Fridays.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Great. So 3 days a week you go to church, actually.
Yeah, so you got to go
Yeah.
Monday, Friday, and Sunday. So hand that microphone back in the corner there. And what's your name, sir?
Drew Thorne.
Drew, where'd you get that watch?
I don't know. I've had it for as long as I can remember.
Really?
Yeah.
I bet he has a little gel in his hair.
Wait, do you?
See, yeah.
Can you zoom in on the gel here? I want to get a better look on this.
I'm trying to get him to put a little gel in his
He's
hair.
gonna zoom in on the gel. All right. So I got a little question for you. When you put the gel in your hand, do you add a little water to it and then run it? No, you just put it straight
You
on.
put it on wet hair or dry hair?
A dry hair.
Put it on dry hair, and then do you give it one of these?
No.
No? Okay,
No,
you just
see?
put it in? I'm sorry. Look at, you see right here. All right, so we got the gel on, what was your name again?
Drew.
Drew. That was a long time ago. You told me that. So do you want, like, say if you forget to put gel in and you go to school, what's that feel like all day?
I feel like my hair is just like down here.
It's not.
It gets annoying.
It gets annoying and it just kind of flops everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, well, hey, it's good to have good hygiene and start that at an early age, okay? So
Yeah.
thank you.
What grade are you in, Drew?
6.
All right, what do you want to be when you grow up?
I'm not sure yet.
Okay,
Still figuring out.
All right, why don't you
Got
think
time.
about it, okay, for a little while? Hey, hand it over here, and what's your name?
Mike Lemon?
Mike?
Mike looks like he has a little gel in his hair, too.
No, I don't.
No, that's just a nice, shiny look?
Yep.
Wow, that you have nice hair.
Mike, you know what I like to do sometimes when I can't find any gel? I take toast, and I put a bunch of butter on it, and then I just comb my hair with the buttered toast. You ever try that? No, you don't want to do that?
No. But kudos to you.
All right.
Smart young man.
Kudos to me, Mike. I appreciate that. Mike, what grade again? I forgot.
5th.
5th grade, huh? So you haven't been thinking about your future quite yet, have you?
No, not really.
What do you like to do after school, Mike?
Do homework and then go on my Chromebook. That's it.
Really? Do you play Fortnite?
No.
Oh man, it's just you got to stay away from that.
I know. Everyone's playing it.
And it takes up all their time and stuff. So do you like to get outside when it's nice out and run
Yeah.
around? Like what? You like to kick a ball around? You
I
like
play
to-
baseball, so I just practice that.
Oh really? You like baseball, huh? What position?
Catcher.
Catcher? So you like putting all that really heavy equipment on when it's like 85 degrees out and you're just like really hot. And by the time you're done, you just feel like a withered leaf. You like that feeling?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Okay,
do.
good. And then they're throwing a ball at you at like 70 miles an hour, and sometimes it skips in the dirt and it just kicks up and hits you in the shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. Hey, can you hand the mic over here? What's your name?
Summer Weaver.
Summer Weaver. And Summer, you are also in 5th grade?
Yes.
Okay, and what is it that you like to do? Is there anything special?
I love to cheer.
You love to cheer?
Yes.
Okay, so you are, is there a 5th grade team?
Yes.
Oh, so you already have cheer?
Yes.
At school, huh?
Summer looks so pretty with her freckles and braces.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hey, I don't expect you to stand up and do a real cheer here, but is there any way that we could like verbally do a cheer? Like, what's your favorite cheer? You want me to give you? All right, go ahead.
Are you the only cheerleader here, or is anyone else a cheerleader?
Aaron.
Okay,
Aaron,
so you got to do it together.
Okay, can you guys can you guys just do one cheer for us together here? I'll hold the microphone and you guys kind of shout
Summer,
it out.
come a little closer
Okay, do you
to
know
the
which
mic.
one you want to do? How about why don't you guys get
They're figuring it out.
All right, there you go. All right, here we go.
We got spirit. Yeah, we got spirit. Yeah, we got what? We got spirit.
All right,
job.
excellent. Thank you. All right, let's wait. You know what? Let's get smart about this and take this wire around. What's your name again? Chantel? No, all right. Somebody else, huh? All right, thanks a lot for Principal
Gosh.
Ruiz right there. Okay, and your name is?
Ainsley Guchar.
Ainsley, and you are in what grade?
5th.
What do you like to do?
I like to do volleyball.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
And do you ever, like, when you're playing volleyball, somebody, like, hits a real big spike and it hits you in the face?
No, but I've
good.
seen it.
I've seen it, isn't it? It gets kind of scary sometimes,
Yeah.
huh? So, have you been playing volleyball for a while?
I started this year.
Oh, good. Well, it sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun going forward. St. Mary's has traditionally had a decent volleyball program, correct? Yes, yeah. I mean, everybody knows, though, St. Thomas More is the best at all sports. Did you guys know that? All right, hand that over here. I'll leave that going on here. You guys want to hear a cheer
Look at
from...
you starting a rivalry right here in the studios of WJOB.
You got to start early. Life
Can't be
is tough
biased.
out there, okay?
We got St. Mary's in the house, right?
It's a dog-eat-dog world, my friends. And your name?
Jacob Darnell.
Hey, Jacob. How you doing?
Good.
And what is it that you like to do, Jacob? Anything special?
Baseball.
You like to play baseball? What position?
Mostly 2nd and 3rd.
Mostly 2nd and 3rd. Do you have any professional baseball players that you like to watch? Anybody special, like Abreu for the Sox, or
really.
Chris Bryant, or Rizzo, or nothing? Nobody really
not
comes
really.
out. Are you a righty or lefty?
Righty.
You're a righty. So you want to be a baseball player when you grow up, or what?
No.
What are you thinking? Maybe a fireman or what?
No, I want to be a cook.
You want to be a cook?
Mhm.
And your favorite dish to cook is spaghetti?
I don't know.
Oh, I mean, you don't cook yet, but when you get older, you'll want to cook, huh? Do you make your own sandwich once in a while?
No, I don't really. I'm not really a sandwich type of person.
Okay, what do you like if you get up and it's like, in the middle of summer and you're home and you got to put something together in the fridge for yourself? What do you do? What do you make? Jell-O?
I don't know.
Banana cream pie? No? All right, well, first time you make a dish or like a soup or something, bring some in for me, huh?
And they have those programs for celebrity chefs for young people like yourself. So you have to start early.
Okay, and if we can bring these two in, and come on over here. What's your first name? There you go. Hand it to him. What's your first name?
I'm James.
James? 5th grade? 4th grade? 6th grade? What?
6th grade.
6th grade. And what do you
James,
like?
stand up so people can see you because you're all the way in the background.
Yeah, James, talk into the
There.
mic there.
Now.
James, what do you like to do? Do you like to go outside?
Well, I'm on the track team that just started.
Oh, really?
great.
You like to run?
Yeah.
Hey, when it's snowing out, do you like to run in the snow or do you like to run when it's nice out?
Both.
All right.
What
that's
event
a
are you
real
going to run
runner.
in track? Do you know yet?
What?
What are you going to run in track, like the relays or the sprints or?
I know.
Or-
I think like a sprints.
You go to sprints? Do you think if we just cleared everybody out of here, you could show us how fast you run back and forth? No?
No, I'm not up for that.
Oh, you're not up? Thank
not
you.
like the cheerleaders.
Thank you.
Shout out to the coach.
All right, there you go. Thank
this
you
is
so
like,
much.
do you
Hand
remember
it to-
Candy Camera when they used to do things like this? Or what's your line? I'm
Hey,
loving this.
And your name is?
Allison.
Allison.
Allison, stand up because you're all the way in the back also.
There you go. Let's see. Allison, what grade?
5th.
5th grade. What do you like to do? Anything special? Study. Art. So put that mic right up to your mouth there. All right. You like to do art? What do you like to draw?
Scenery.
Scenery, trees. Do you ever go out to the dunes or anything, or do you just do it in the backyard, that kind of thing, huh? And so when you grow up, you want to be an artist?
Yeah, I want to get a degree in journalism.
Oh, really?
Oh, look at you.
So you're thinking maybe you might want to be in the media, huh?
I love her haircut.
Thank you.
All right, and this would be the final and most important question. Do you have gel in your hair?
No, I do not.
Okay, thank you so much. All right.
I have a question though.
Sure.
Do you eat that bread after you do your hair?
Good journalist.
Whoa!
or do you just waste it? It's like
There's starving children around the world, and you're wasting toast.
There's no right answer to that, is there? Because if I throw it away, I'm wasting food. But if I eat it after running it over
Gross.
through my hair, then I'm gross. So I'm not going to answer that question. And you'll learn that in the media that you get that all the time. People aren't going to answer it. Hey, good. Hey, you guys did a great job. Thanks a lot. Hey, bring that over here, and we're gonna see if you could swing that camera over and the camera, and we're gonna give it to the teacher over here. Teach, will you take that? Can I say, yo, teach?
Sure.
And your name is, can you put a camera on him? Thanks. Your name is, sir?
Tony Pagoric.
And what year you teach? Or were you your teacher at St. Mary's?
I teach computers, so I'm a specialist teacher. So this is my first year at St. Mary's, but I've been within the diocese this is my 14th year of service in some capacity, teaching in Catholic schools.
What other schools were you at?
I was at Andrean for 13 years. So I did everything from teaching science and music and directing plays and a soccer coach, and I ended up at my time as an assistant athletic director at Andrean, and then this past summer moved on over to St. Mary's.
You know, there is not a lot of money in teaching in Catholic schools. So the number one question is going to be from people that are watching or listening is this: why do you choose that kind of service?
It's kind of like bred in me. I've been a product of Catholic schools. I went to St. Tom's.
So then like I do that's the best.
I heard after I left, things kind of tailed off a little bit. But no, my mom's taught in Catholic schools. She teaches actually at St. Tom's. She's a preschool teacher there. my sister Erica, she teaches at St. John. My wife, she teaches at St. Mike's. So it's just kind of been something that's like part of my culture growing up. So
dedication.
So you teach at St. Mary's in Crown Point, and your wife teaches at St. Mike's in Cherville.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like the Ruizes, right?
Yeah.
The Ruizes here with Tom teaching at St. Mary's at Crown Point and Jackie, principal right up here at St. Stan's. Wow, that's pretty cool. That's a lot of service. Well, thank you for serving the Catholic community. That's all I could say, man. You're my hero for being in that. Both you guys. Hand it over to the other hero, will you?
Hi, Jim.
How you doing? Tom's a longtime supporter of the station, both he and Jackie. And, it's I got to throw you that same question, Tom. There's a lot of things that you could do, and let's just be straight. You could, make more money in a public school. You stay in the faith-based system. Why?
When I came to St. Mary's, it's just the type of place you fall in love with. And we have great kids like these guys and supportive families and a great community. So I'm happy. I'm loving life, and it's an honor and privilege to serve the Catholic Church at St. Mary's and serve these kids and their wonderful families.
You guys took really good advantage of the Hey JED app. I love the commercials that you did, like the pancake breakfast and different things. How did these students get picked to come?
These guys are all on our WSMW news crew. They run a student-run TV program, so every day after school they record a program. Some of them are in front of the camera, some of them are behind the camera. It gets edited, and then the entire school, over 500 kids, see them every single day of the week.
And so are you going to report on this segment today?
It'll be a big part.
So are those on the internet anywhere? Any of them?
You know what? We do have them on YouTube, but we kind of keep it private and in-house just for privacy reasons.
Good, because I was going to play one now, but that's
maybe
fine.
you could take a clip from what you did today and add it to your program.
Yeah,
sure, absolutely.
And we will we'll make sure that we get a future publicly viewable one from Tom Ruiz, the
we'll definitely send you something.
If you guys send it to us, I mean, if you guys just send it to us and you guys behave on it and you're not making faces or anything in the background, then we'll play it here on the air.
Yeah.
So everybody here is part of WSM?
WSMW. It's
W St. Mary's
Wildcats.
Wildcats.
Yeah, we're the Wildcats.
So everybody here has some interest in media. Then is that what this is all about? I didn't quite get it.
They all applied. They all applied to be on the show, and they had a interview process and teacher recommendations, and so these are kids who all really, really wanted to be part of that program that we have.
But it's only 5th, 6th, and 7th grade.
It's fourth on up.
Okay.
Fourth on up.
Okay, so we didn't get any 8th graders today.
All right, so
no, a lot of our 8th graders have been on WSMW earlier on, and after a while they're a little too cool to
So let's ask a question here, and let's do a little exercise. Say we're all sitting here, and you guys are working for WSMW.
St. Mary's Wildcats at WSMW.
And then all of a sudden, a fire truck goes by, and across the street you see smoke. And the firemen get out and they're pulling all their hoses down. What do you guys do? Film it. There you go. That's it is. That's the end of the story, because a lot of stuff has just become a lot of video, right?
From a safe location.
From a safe location. You don't run that close, or you stay out of the way of the firemen, but that is the number one thing you would do, is that you would start to film that. So there it is. One day you guys are going to notice that, and you're going to film it, and then it's going to be played on national news. So, Mr. Ruiz, is there anything else you want us to discuss with them today? Or
no, I tell you what, we appreciate you bringing them in and letting them see what you do here.
Do they have any
valuable
questions?
Experience for these guys. How
Other
about you
than
guys?
the toast, are there any other questions?
Yes. Do you guys have any questions for me other than about the buttered toast thing? And that's just the standard old joke. We're going to have a couple of questions. Once again, you're listening to AM 1230 WJLB on 104.7 FM. I'm Jim Deedlow, the host here, and Verley Suggs is with us. And we're here at the Purdue Northwest Commercialization Center in the Strachan Van Til Studios. And if you want to watch it, you can see the trucks going by and all that on the Facebook Live and Twitter and YouTube streams. All right, your name, Summer. And what's your question?
So what college did you go to?
What college did I go to? I went to a college that was a long way away called the University of California at Berkeley. And I studied sociology. And I had no idea that I wanted to be a radio host until I was 40 years old. And then I grabbed the microphone, and I've loved it ever since. That was a long time ago. That was a great question. Hand the mic over to Darnell over here. Okay, and what's your question?
Are you planning to gel your hair?
Am I planning to gel my hair?
It's something other than butter. Toast.
I have an 11-year-old nephew who goes to Elliott School in Munster, and he is in the 5th grade, and he has been bugging me for quite some time to gel my hair, and I just can't do it. And part of it is I just feel greasy when I put that stuff on. I'm a kind of a greasy, hairy guy anyways. It just kind of exacerbates the situation. All right, I don't know if that, here, let's see if we have enough cord here to get it to the back row there. And you have another question, go ahead and hand that back. And what's your question?
What's your schedule like in it, and what's the most famous person you interviewed?
What's the most famous person I interviewed? Well, let's see. Hand it over here. I interviewed Donald Trump's son. I've interviewed the governor. I've interviewed the vice president, Pence. What's his first name? Mike Pence. And I've interviewed a lot of politicians, senators, Donnelly, all the people like that. I've interviewed Kennedy, Caroline Kennedy. What's that? What's my schedule like? All right, I'll tell you what I do. I get up in the morning at 4:22, and I take a shower, and then I read all the news, and I go on the internet, and I get all that stuff. And then a lot of times I ride my bike over here, and I do my show here, and I sit right here. But sometimes I stand out there, and I do the show from outside. And then when the show's over, I go and I work out. And then I come back here and I teach broadcasting. So today, like, I'll teach broadcasting, and tomorrow. And because you have to have people like you that are going to do the jobs like Verley and I do when they grow up. And then at nighttime, my wife and I sit around and watch CNN and Fox. That's what we do. Hey, and your name, and what's your question?
What's your favorite color?
What's my favorite color? My favorite color is blue. It always has been. And it's very boring. But when I went to St. Thomas More, here, hand that microphone up here. When I went to St. Thomas More, I think now they wear a maroon at St. Thomas More, right? When I was there, you had to wear blue pants and a blue tie and a white shirt. And I don't know why I fell in love with that. I kind of wish as I got older that I wore a uniform so I didn't have to decide what to wear every morning, because it isn't easy. You just go in the closet and you go, I know what I'm wearing to school. Well, people at public schools don't have that. All right, final question.
How did you know you wanted to start a radio station?
All right, interesting story. I went to school at the University of California at Berkeley, and then I came back here, and I got a job. See, if you guys turn around at some point, I think on the way out, you can't see it now, but Principal Ruiz will show it to you. There's a 400-foot tower, as you can see it right on the other side, and at the base of that's a building, and I worked in that building. And then I got a job in Chicago for like 20 years. And then this radio station came for sale, and my wife and I bought it, and then we bought another one. And every morning I get to wake up and ride my bike over here, drive my car, and talk on the radio. And I got to tell you, it is a dream come true. How's that sound? Hey, let's hear it for the folks from St. Mary's, all right? WSMW. You guys have been a great audience. You can stick around for a little bit because Verley is... She's gonna be done, and we have a radio legend coming in to this studio right now. Someone I used to work with in the mid 1980s, and I haven't seen him for 30 years. So we're gonna have the youth of tomorrow, and we are gonna have a radio legend from many years gone by. and it's all going to be at the same time. So everybody stay tuned, and we'll be right back on the voice and face of the region.
Elections matter, qualifications matter, integrity and honesty matters, and most of all, experience matters. The Honorable Lorenzo Arredondo possesses all of these qualities. Make a wise decision. Vote for Arredondo for clerk on May 8th. Arredondo for clerk. Honest, trustworthy, dependable, and experienced. And there's no substitute for experience.
My name is Lorenzo Arredondo, and I approve this message.
Paid for by the committee to elect Arredondo for clerk.
Men in Kilts is back. The Lake County Sheriff's Department Pipes and Drums annual fundraiser is Saturday, April 21st from 5 to 10 p.m. at the 4-H building, Lake County Fairgrounds. Featuring bagpipers, Irish dancers, silent auctions, and other entertainment. Tickets are $10 at the door, which includes your food and beverage. Come out and support this family-friendly event as we raise funds to honor our fallen brothers and sisters who have given their lives in the line of duty. That's Saturday, April 21st. Kids are welcome. For more information, see our Facebook page, Men in Kilts 2018.
Theo's Steak and Seafood sets the standard of fine dining excellence. Delicious USDA prime meats and steaks, along with the freshest seafood in the area. Celebrate your special event with friends, family, and associates in our private dining room that can seat up to 125 people. For information, call 838-8000 or theoshighland.com. Also visit our other restaurants, Prime Steakhouse, Umi Sushi and Lounge in Crown Point, and Ted's Family Restaurant in Calumet City.
John Salzader, Democratic candidate for North Township Advisory Board. You have heard me on these airways before talking about my family charity, its events, and the groups it supports. Now I've decided to run for your North Township Board. I am well qualified and ready to work for you. Elect John Salzader.
Approved and paid for by the committee to elect John Salzader.
The priest is going to do traffic now, and all the kids must be quiet. Hey, high of 42 today, partly sunny, not as cold, but I'll tell you what, it's chilly out right now. It's 28 degrees in the Calumet region here at the Strachan Van Til Studios on the campus of Purdue Northwest. And I'll tell you what, though, it's sunny out. It's really nice to see that. And if you guys want to see it on your phone, all you got to do is go to Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, and you'll see that it's just a beautiful look here down Indianapolis Boulevard when it gets sunny like this. We just haven't seen it in a while. It's just been so nasty. It should get to about 42 degrees about 2 in the afternoon. And then it'll cool off overnight, get down into the low 30s again. Tomorrow, high about the same, 42, 43 degrees, but you get a shower tomorrow. And then Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, also very cool, but you might see some sunshine on all 3 of those days. I know a lot of the little leagues in the area will be opening up on Saturday. I will be throwing out the first pitch at Munster Little League at about 9:30 in the morning. And then I will be going over to Dowling Park here in Hammond, and I'll be announcing 2 games of the Purdue Northwest softball team, and that'll be at noon and 2. So anybody that is interested in Division II college softball, they will be playing or are scheduled to play Saturday at Dowling Park at noon and 2. And if you can't make it, all you got to do is pick up your phone, and I'll be announcing it, and you'll be able to watch those games right there on your phone. And let's see, weather is brought to you by our good friends at CertifiedElectrician.com. If you need some electrical work done, have a union-based electrical contractor do it, and you can find that right at CertifiedElectrician.com. Let's take a look at what's going on in traffic. We had an earlier accident at 159th on the Bishop Ford. That's been cleared, but it has created a little bit of a backup further on down the line at the merge from the Bishop Ford into the Dan Ryan. A little bit heavy through that area, starting at about 115th up to about 87th. So allow extra time through there. I'll call it a mild watch the Bishop Ford right now. 294 around the city looks good. 80 going east and west. Going west, it's okay. East is bad coming back this way. Skyway, Toro, Barman, I-65 are all moving along pretty well. Don't forget about that big traffic snafu on the top of the bridge between Meyer and Webb Ford in Highland. That is scheduled to be there until November. I have been working here at WJOB off and on since 1984 or 1985. And when I first came here, it was right down the street behind us. And I was fortunate to basically be taught by a number of people, mentors, people that showed you how to act as a gentleman, at least I've got a modicum of gentleman behavior that I exhibit once in a while. And there were a number of mentors, Larry Peterson, Irv Lewin, Julian Colby himself, Judy Grambo, Ron Perzo. There were a lot of names, John Baranowski, Eric Alden, Barbie Cave. I mean, I worked with a lot of good people back in those days. Tim Need. I mean, I could go on and on. But there was a guy in the late morning that would come on the air here, and he and I would talk music. And then he would play his music. And he was able to impart to me a love of radio that just exuded from his pores. He was here for, I don't know, maybe 10, 12 years or so. And I am distinctly honored today to have that guy here today with us. And I haven't seen him in a long time, and that's Pete Marzano. Pete.
Good morning, Jim. Excuse me. Good morning, Jim. It's actually 16 years.
16 years you were here.
Yep. From 72 to 88.
72 to 88. What did you do here, Pete?
Everything. I produced the shows from 6 o'clock in the morning up until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And in between those special programs, or segments, like you said, with Irv Lewin, Therm Free, Harriet Pinkerton, those little segmented magazine-type shows, I was on the board producing. And in between, I would play my records and have all kinds of fun with games and quizzes and stuff like that. And in fact, Jim, I see these young kids here that's from St. Mary. They are all just a delightful bunch of children. And if you have any idea of getting into radio, go for it, because this is one of the finest jobs you'll ever have. I know I had a ball that was 16 years with you folks here at JOB, and it was just a real thrill, Jim.
You know, it's a little bit different than you would have broken into radio, and it was certainly different when I broke into radio. These guys are going to sit with us for like 5 or 10 minutes, and then they're going to move on. So these kids are wanting to get into radio. What would you tell them about, how to get started, or just anything?
Well, that's the idea. I got into radio when I was only 42 years old, but I should have started earlier. But anyhow, when you're young, as you are now, and you really want to pursue it, take all of your subjects and show your interest in the profession, and follow on all through high school and through college. And it's a grind, but if you're into it and really like it, why, go for it.
There's a lot of technology now. Anybody here ever listen to a podcast? Yeah, so you have listened to podcasts already. It's very radio related these days, and I honestly think nobody's really too young to do their own podcast. You never know. Mr. Ruiz may even have an idea at some point to do a podcast, but it's
Jim,
another entryway.
Yeah, Jim, of course, in our day, when I was on the air, I had 2 turntables. I wonder if these kids know what records are. You know what records are? Those discs, they're made out of plastic, Well, I had 2 turntables on either side of my microphone and a control board with 4 different knobs. And it's so altogether different technologically here, that something like that. The technology has been so improved. Like, to me, all these controls are all new to me. I wouldn't know what to do, because I had the turntables on my right and left, and I knew just how to set them up and everything. Now, with all this computer stuff, I'm really lost.
I have a feeling that given about 10 or 15 minutes, Mr. Marzano, you'd figure it out, because he was a real whiz on the dials. So when you do a show, you see these folks back here, they're producing the show. It was a little bit different setup back in the old days, but it's the same idea. So just so you guys understand the roles here, I'm the talent, I'm the celebrity, I'm the one that's on the thing here, and all the cameras, and everybody's hearing my voice all over the region. But, and I think I'm like a great person, but I'm nothing without these folks back here that are actually producing the show. And they're making sure it sounds right. All the cameras are always moving. The lights got to be right. Now, it's a whole different story in that regard. It's a lot of video. Yeah. But that's where way more jobs are, back here in the production end of it. than just talking on the radio. And Pizza attests to that. You sat there for 8 hours every day producing those shows. That's a long time.
Yeah. Well, we did have a lunch hour in between there, Jim. So, like I say, but it was enjoyable, and I enjoyed it. And as I say, the setup now is so different. See, I had the controls. I could control when we had guests in the other studio. I was at the controls, as Jim mentioned, producing and doing all the controls. But now it's entirely different. We have their own control room back there. They do all the technical stuff.
We're talking to Pete Marzano, folks. If you guys have not, there's some of you that recognize that voice. And I can't even say Pete Marzano. I got to say Mr. Marzano. I'm sorry. Mr. Marzano's voice was well known to these airwaves 16 years, and there's a bunch of you listening right now. And if you would like to talk to Mr. Marzano, it's 219-845-1100. Before we go to the phone call, so I want to do this. Mr. Marzano did a music show, a lot of them.
That's right.
Got to play his music, and he's very knowledgeable in music. So let's follow the chronology here. You guys know what records are, right? Does anybody's parents or grandpa or anybody have records still around the house? And does anybody ever play them?
Okay.
Okay, so you know what a turntable is and you know what all that. What came after records? Anybody? Hold on a second. Let me give you the mic here. All right, what came after records? Your name again? Summer.
Summer.
What came after records?
Tapes.
Tapes.
Yeah.
Cassette tapes is right. So there were two types of tapes. Anybody know there was cassette and what was another type? Anybody? It starts with the number. 8-track tapes. So you had 8-track tapes and you had cassette tapes. What came after that? What came after tape? Give it to the guy down there. And your name again is
Drew.
Drew, and Drew with the gel. Yeah, that's right. What came after tapes?
CDs.
There you go. CDs. Yeah. Now, when you left, the CDs were just coming in, right, Pete?
Yeah, but we still had the old records, though.
You still had the old records?
Yeah.
That's all Pete wants. He wants his
and the
records.
old cassette players, with the commercials on the push the button.
The carts. Remember the carts?
Right. Yeah.
All right. So after CDs, how do we play music now? All right, hand it up right here in the front row here. How do we play music now?
MP3 players.
MP3s. So really, if you think about the evolution of playing music on the air, in the beginning, well, actually before records, we have to go way back to the beginning. They had to play it live. Really, I mean, there were very few records in their 20s, maybe.
Yeah.
So they had to play the music live, and then they played records, and then they played cassettes and 8-tracks, and then they played CDs, and now we're doing it on MP3s on the computer. What do you guys think the future is? Eventually, how are we going to play music? Alexa!
Oh, yeah.
That's right, man. Now, who knows where it's at, right? Yeah. It's just coming from Alexa.
It's in the air.
It's in the air
somewhere right now. Yeah, I tell you.
So let's talk. All right, so we got to do an educational moment before they head out here, Pete. So let's talk about this. So we're talking on the air here, Pete and I are, and you guys are. So the sound that we're doing is going to go all the way up underneath this street here on a wire, and it's going to that tower down there that's 400 feet tall. It is the second tallest structure in all of Lake County, okay? When it hits that tower, what happens? Anybody got any ideas? Anybody have any ideas? Right here. Anybody? Let's go here. Anybody? Let's go back to the back row there, will you? Do you have any ideas? It's James, correct? Let's see how James is doing. All right, so the sound hits that tower, then what happens? What happens, James?
It's on the air.
It goes in the air. That's exactly right. So it's kind of weird to understand this, but it goes up that big tower in electrical current, and it makes a wave. And then that wave goes everywhere, and then you got this little thing in your car or something you hold in your hand, and it grabs that. Now, that's all different. It's a whole different way than sending it out over the internet. That's the old way of doing it, and then, quite frankly, that's the way that we'll do it for a long time. All right, thanks a lot, James. Hand that back up here. So, does anybody have any questions for Pete Marzano? He's been doing radio and playing music for a long time. Any questions? What it was like or whatever? Pete, you started at 42 years old. Why'd you wait so long?
Well, that's a good question, Jim. When I first started working at, if you will, in the job market, I was doing type, if you will, an office type work, if you will, for 13 years or so. And it got to the point where in the back of my mind, my frustrated ambition and desire was to be in radio. So at the age of 40 years old, I went to radio school and started to learn the basic principles of radio and was offered a job in Dundee, Illinois.
The middle of nowhere.
Yeah, right. And that was an FM station. And the other half of that was I had to go out and do my own selling. I went to get to different shops and stores in Dundee and ask them if they wanted to be on radio. In other words, get commercials from them. And of course, I got a little bit of money for all these commercials, all these people that I visited that wanted to be on the air at the FM station that I was working in Dundee. Then from 9 to 11, I'd be on the streets, literally going from the furniture stores to the grocery stores to the barber shops and trying to sell time. If they accepted, I had to sit down and write these 30-second commercials myself with in my own words and type them up and have them do them for my show. So that was my first year in radio. Then I was fortunate enough to get the job here at WJOB, which is at the old station, is where I ended up going, incidentally, Jim. I didn't know we were relocated.
Oh, you went over there this morning.
There.
Oh, I should have made that clear to you guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah. The parking lot was empty. I said, something's wrong here. So that's when my lovely granddaughter looked in and says, 71 Indianapolis Boulevard. I said, that's farther south. So anyhow, I was able to get the job here in 42 after a year doing this stuff in Dundee, and it was an altogether different experience. It was AM radio, if you will. It was the FM station where I was at was purely playing records and every now and then talking on the air and selling and doing a commercial live. See, then when I came to WJOB, all of the selling and all the commercials were taken care of by the sales department. So I just had fun playing records and playing the commercials on the air myself, but without having to go out and do that kind of work. And so doing the stuff here at WJOB was more fun than in Dundee for that 1 year. And
we're talking once again to Pete Marzano. He was here for 16 years in the 70s and 80s. So, Pete, we're going to let the students get out of the studio
to get back
here.
To school?
Yeah, head
back to school.
Yeah, they don't really want to do that. They want to just kind of hang out here, but maybe principal and teacher will let you guys run around out here for a little bit and get some of it out. But I got to tell you, I'm fully honored that you guys came in. And anybody here has any questions or anything about radio anytime, you guys get a hold of Mr. Ruiz, and then we'll answer your questions. And when you get old enough, come on down here, and we'll see if we can't get you an intern. We've had interns from Andrean High School, from Bishop Knoll. We've had interns from Crown Point High School, Munster, and on all sorts of places. So when you get in high school and you're still loving radio, you come on down here, and we'll see what we can do, okay? All right. Thank you guys so much. We're going to take a short break and clear the studio out. And Pete Marzano and I are going to talk with you guys for just a little bit. We'll be right back here on the voice and face of the region.
Ogren Insurance has been serving the area since 1947 and provides insurance for life, home, auto, business, and more. If you're looking for one-on-one service, the best rates, knowledge, and experience, Ogren Insurance is your agency. Our number one goal is to provide you with the coverage you need at the most competitive price. To learn about the insurance solutions and services we offer in Indiana, Illinois, and Michigan, call 219-933-0076 or see our website, ogreninsurance.com. Ogren Insurance, 6929 Holman Avenue in Hammond. Accidents happen. Be protected with Ogren Insurance.
On May 8th, vote for Democrat Andrew Silvestrowitz for Lake County Clerk of Circuit Courts. Andrew is a qualified Democrat and has 12 years of experience as a councilman in Maryville at every facet of government. Make your vote count with Andrew Silvestrowitz for Clerk of Circuit Courts. Paid for by Committee to Elect Democrat Andrew Silvestrowitz.
I am Andrew Silvestrowitz, and I approve this message.
Fill your garage with your dream car during the Honda Dream Garage Spring event going on now at Napleton's River Oaks Honda. They're Northwest Indiana's destination for new and certified pre-owned Hondas. Napleton's River Oaks Honda has a huge selection of brand new and certified pre-owned Civics, Accords, CRVs, and Pilots. Come find out why you always get our best deal at River Oaks Honda. As always, Indiana residents pay Indiana sales tax right off 8094 on Torrance Avenue or online at riveroakshonda.com.
Napleton, second to none since 1931.
John Salzader, candidate for North Township Advisory Board. I am fully qualified, experienced, and will bring a new face and new vision to your township government. Elect John Salzader, Salzeider, on May 8th, Democrat.
Approved and paid for by the committee to elect John Salzider.
Good morning, everybody. 742 in the Calumet region. I'm Jim Diedlow, host of JED in the region, hanging out with you guys on a beautiful Tuesday morning. Who would have thought that all of a sudden the sun's going to come out and just mess everything up? We thought we were going to live in gray, wet, nasty weather forever, and then all of a sudden you just get a beautiful gem. Now, it's cold. Don't get me wrong. It's 28 degrees here at the Strachan Van Til Studios. It's 30 degrees at Local 697 in Maryville, and at Local 41 in Munster, it's also 28 degrees. But it gets up to 42 degrees, and it's not as windy, man. Yesterday when I went outside, it was 26 degrees with a 25-mile-an-hour wind. Right now you get winds from the northwest at about 9 to 16 miles an hour. Tomorrow, high of 43, afternoon shower. Then it gets a little bit of sun on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Highs in the mid-40s to about 50 on Friday and Saturday. And don't forget, I will be throwing out the ball on Saturday morning at 9:30 for Munster Little League. And then heading over to Dowling Park and announcing 2 softball games for Purdue Northwest Division II. I got to tell you, any of you folks that watch softball on ESPN or sports, Comcast Sports Network and that kind of stuff, we have that right here in Northwest Indiana, and it will be on your phones on Facebook Live on Saturday afternoon at noon and 2. I'll be on the call. They'll also play another doubleheader on Sunday, and then that'll be Sam Michael on the call for that. But I'll take Saturday, and Sam will take Sunday. And weather there brought to you by Labor's Local 41, of which I am a proud alum. Let's take a look at traffic, 294 around the city. Not too bad. I mean, you have a little bit of slowdown right past the Stevenson. 80 going west looks good, but coming back through Joliet, there's a big accident. If you know anybody coming up through 80, see if they can reroute through downtown Joliet. The Bishop Ford earlier accident has all been cleared at 159th, but you do have traffic from 115th to about 87th. Stop and go through that area. But going into Jane Byrne a little further on isn't too bad right now. Skyway, Toll Road, Borman, I-65, US 30, Klein Avenue are all moved along. Wall traffic brought to you by Napleton River Oaks Honda, proudly serving Northwest Indiana with superior customer service. This final segment of the show is going to be brought to you by Rush Radio Surgery on the west side of Chicago. Their dedicated and experienced team mission is to provide the highest quality and most compassionate cancer care. Visit them at rushradiosurgery.com. Very much thank them. And I'll tell you what, you get that cancer diagnosis, it's a horrible time. You need a second opinion, that's a good place to start at rushradiosurgery.com. And are you injured, can't work? You may qualify for Social Security benefits. Call Bill Gordon and Associates and learn how. 800-932-1276, 800-932-1276. And in news around here, locally, former Calumet assistant or executive secretary Ethel Shelton, at the age of 73, she's a Gary resident. She has been found guilty on wire fraud and honest services wire fraud in her trial yesterday. Found not guilty is Alex Wheeler, also from the Calumet Township Trustee's office. And 40 people got into a fight out in LaPorte at a basketball game. I think I'll pick that one up tomorrow. I've seen these things get quite heated, and I have plenty of things plenty of comments on that. On the national front, you guys well know that the Trump investigation marches forward. I guess the biggest thing that came out of it yesterday is Sean Hannity is the secret client, the third secret client for Michael Cohen, who is President Trump's attorney, who has been raided. That came out yesterday, and it sparked a bunch of late-night comics just kind of making fun of Mr. Hannity. But at the very core, it begs the question of exactly what do you need to reveal as a media person and what you don't. Verley and I didn't really get into that today. We had so much going on, but you know, it's a question that Mr. Hannity is going to have to answer. As you guys well know, I know a lot of people around here. Most of the time I remember to make mention of the entanglements that I have, but sometimes I forget. So, you know, I don't know what you do with Mr. Hannity's situation. I don't know if he needed to bring that up or not, but it's brought up whether he wanted to or not. Hey, let's look back in time to the 1970s and 1980s. A man who quit his regular job, went back to radio school at the age of 40, and started working here at WJOB at the age of
42.
42. And that is Pete Marzano. And we've got about 10 or 12 minutes. Anybody that remembers Pete or wants to say hello to him or ask a question, it's 219-845-1100. Now is the time. Pete was here when I was here in the mid-1980s, and well remembers guys like Irv Lewin.
Oh, yes.
The violins.
Early morning program, again, which I produced. Millie Pilot. Oh, my golly. So many of those.
Harry Pinkerton.
Harry Pinkerton, right. Smell of Roses. Beautiful, beautiful people that I had the opportunity to know and meet and produce the shows for them along the, as I say, in between that, doing my own record show. Incidentally, Jim, when you had the kids here from St. Mary's, during the Christmas time, if you remember, we had many local schools come into the studio there and do Christmas songs from 11 till 12. And I just had a ball with the kids. They came from the grammar schools, the high schools of the area. And for about 2 weeks before Christmas, we had them live in the old big studio at the old station there. And I had a ball with those kids. And it was just a ball with those kids doing that show.
You know, we haven't gotten into that because I'm on so early. Mm-hmm. And we've done it a few times. We've had the kids come in and sing. But it's, you know, it's a big deal for St. Mary's to get everybody up there at 6 o'clock and come in here. You know, I hadn't even thought about doing that more midday. Because that's a little easier. The kids are already at school. They just get in a bus. They come over. They do their singing and go home.
Yeah.
It's not a bad idea. Are you guys hearing that programming suggestion? Yeah, there you go. Pete, I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
You know, WJOB obviously meant and means a lot to you, and and it means a lot to me enough that I would come back and buy the stations and continue to operate them. But in your mind, what is this? What does the spirit of WJOB mean to the Calumet region?
Well, while I was here for those 16 years, Jim, it was the center of everything. It was a center of politics. It was a center of sports. It was a center of social gatherings and meetings, and it's a real service to the region. It was called, at that time, it was called the Bright Spot, 12:30 a.m., the Bright Spot. But as you're doing right now, this is the heart of the community. It's a very homey type situation and environment where you talk with the people. You know these people well. Fortunately, I didn't have to do that. I just played my records and had fun. But Larry Peterson, the news staff at that time, got all of these the politicians and the people in this industry to be on the air and interview and show their wares, if you will. And this is where everything happened at WJOB, 1230 on your AM radio. And it was just the center of everything.
I wanted to hear him say it. I mean, I honestly believe that, especially with the new technology and hitting people on their phones, a lot of that still holds true. And I always try to tell people that, I'm just kind of the holder of the spirit for a while. And if you just let the WJOB spirit just be in the community and you just nurture it, it's really a beautiful thing.
See, the thing with you, Jim, and as I've been listening to you, you are in the community. You know everything. Unfortunately, or I should say fortunately, I had my job of playing records and just trying to entertain people, which was good. Once I left the station, I mean, I was out of the environment. You're in the environment 24 hours a day, and that's what makes this station such a powerful instrument for the community.
Thank you. And tell me, I could tell you this, you tried to convey that to the kids here, is that, I think you said, it's just basically a great job to work in radio. And then I started to think about it, I go, is it really a job? You know what I mean? Is it really? I mean, I don't know if this is a job or not.
You're absolutely right, Jim. As they say, I had fun. As I say, it just was a ball playing my records, doing my thing, producing the shows in between. And it was just a real joy for me to come out from Chicago every morning and drive back the old Dan Ryan Expressway in 1994. It was a delightful experience. I didn't mind that at all.
How old are you, Pete?
Right now, I'm turning 80. I'm 89 years old.
When you turn 90?
November,
huh?
Yeah.
I got to tell you, in just strict terms, if you guys want to turn put on your phone right now on Facebook or Twitter, and say you're a guy who's anywhere from 20 to 80. And you want to see what you would hope that you look like when you're 89 years old, all you got to do is put it on your phone right now. Let's go to Bill on line one. Bill, thanks for calling in. You're on with Pete Marzano.
Hello,
good morning. This is Bill Marzano. So we want to say good morning to Uncle Peter.
Oh, my Lord. This is my great-nephew, Bill. How you doing, Bill?
We're doing great, and we're so excited to see you. We're watching it on the computer and listening to you on radio, and Uncle Peter used the term bright spot. We want to say Uncle Peter's definitely been a bright spot for our family. All the family enjoyed listening to him when he was on WJOB. His brothers, his nieces, his nephews, everyone listened.
This is not a paid commercial, Bill.
I want to hear it. I want to hear more of it.
Okay, go ahead, Bill. I'm sorry.
Bill, let me ask you a question. How into music is Uncle Pete?
Oh, tremendous knowledge. We know that.
Does he still? You think he still has any of his old vinyls?
Oh, well, we haven't been over to the house, but I'm assuming he does.
Yeah.
So when you, how old are you? How old are you, Bill?
Me, I'm 20 years younger than Uncle Peter. And like you said, I hope 20 years from now I'm doing as well and looking as good as he does.
You got it, man. So you were able to listen to him when you were younger then?
Oh, yeah. I know, when he first got on, I was in college, so it was more like on the weekends if I was home, and my dad on Saturday would always be listening to the program, so I'd listen to it too. And, everybody in the family thought it was so wonderful that Uncle Peter had got into this profession later in life and really had this great opportunity with your station to really develop as a DJ. And I know he had the talk show going on for a while that had people calling in. So besides the music, I know he had the more or less the communication with the listeners too.
Yeah, that's so key. Hey, Bill, thanks for calling in. I'm honored to have your uncle in my studio right now. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having him there.
Have a good
day.
Hey, Pete, your nephew brings up a good point. You had to change your life at the age of 40, and I'll just draw a parallel. I left my job in Chicago at the age of 40 and came down here, and we bought this radio station. And I don't necessarily talk about it that much, but in my adult life, that may have been the most difficult thing to basically, change. You're not making as much money, and you got all these other things going on. But to make a change at 40 years old, that drastic of a change is not easy. Comment on that.
All right, Jim. As I had this job previous to radio, I was working at, if you will, a desk job on sales and service for this particular company in Chicago for 13 years. And it got to a point where I couldn't wait for Friday to come along to get away from it all. And on Sundays, I would be a little uptight knowing to go back to this job on Monday. And this was after, let's say, 13 years with the same company, doing the same thing, if you will, a desk job, sales and service. And my wife said, you're not yourself, Peter. What would you want to do? So I told her my frustrated ambition is radio. Why don't you go to radio school? Which, of course, I did in the evenings, going to a radio school in downtown Chicago and getting the principles of doing this and that in radio. And it came to the point where they say I landed this job in Dundee for 1 year, and unfortunately got a job in Hammond in 72.
So what do you say to guys that want to make a career change at that age?
Well, you have to have the cooperation of first with your lovely wife, which I did. She was very patient with me and said, look, do it. And we had to get together, and it's a two-way street there. When you've got family, I had two lovely children at the time, and there was the point where my wife said, let's go for it, and I did it. And I'm glad I did, because those last years of my career, if you will, here at JOB, and teaching 1 year of college, incidentally. I was teaching radio for 1 year at Columbia College, which was good, before I took my full retirement. So there it is. It was a real thing, if you will.
We're talking to Pete Marzano. Pete, I'm going to run a couple names across, and then we're going to bring some family members in here. Larry Peterson, what was he like?
Larry Peterson was an excellent newsman and an excellent interviewer for people that came in for various reasons, again, from the industry, from the Hammond area. He was one of the best. He was my anchorman in news, if you will. In between my show, he was the anchorman.
Well, I learned a lot from Larry Peterson on how to be a professional newsman. And in the end, I mean, he just never seemed to get flustered, No. I mean, there's a lot going on and a lot of bad things and so forth. And he always maintained his cool somehow.
Yeah. He gave me many ideas, in fact, Jim. He told me, Pete, when you play records, why don't you call it platter poll? Which was when I played two records during my show and had people call in to say which one they liked best. And that winner of that show would play, the next day I'd play that particular group and or celebrity on the vocalist and play another couple of sets of records. And he gave me this idea of calling it platter poll. So Larry was, like I say, very instrumental in helping me develop into a radio personality, if you will.
We got a special guest here, right here. Hold that and bring that to your mouth there, if you will. And your name is?
I'm Sarah Marzano.
And this is what, Grandpa?
Yes, my grandpa.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Does he ever talk fondly about his days at WJOB?
He always talks very fondly about WJOB. We still listen to some of the cassettes. He's recorded them, and we still have a few of them. So we'll play cards, we'll put it on the background, and I get to hear him talk and play the records that he talks about. It's very, very sweet.
And who's to your left right here?
This is my grandma.
Hi, Grandma. How you doing?
Hi. Doing just fine.
Were you around when he was on the air during those years?
Yes, I could hear him from Chicago.
You could hear him from Chicago?
Yes.
So let's make a comparison. When he would come home from work as the salesperson for 13 years, And then when he came home from work at WJOB, was he the same person both times, or was he happier coming home from JOB?
He was happy all the time.
He's pretty much a happy guy. I got
He
you
had
with
a
that.
good personality.
Well, how'd you guys meet? Put the mic right up to there. You go.
We met at college.
You met at college where?
Oh gosh, it was at that time, Jim. It was called Herzl Junior College on the south side of Chicago, and we got together. She was a pre-med student, if you will. She wanted to be a medical secretary, so she was in the pre-med club at Herzl Junior College, and I was in sports. Incidentally, I did a lot of articles for the Herzl Light, which was a college newspaper, wrote articles on that, and intramurally we were involved with a lot of sports at school. We were in the bowling league, we were in the softball league, in the basketball league, basketball tournaments. So intramurally at Herzl, I was quite involved.
First date.
One of my buddies on the staff of the Herzl said, "Pete, I want you to come to the office one day." He said, "Look down the hall. There's a cute girl at her locker." So I went to the office at 10:15 in the morning, which was break, and he says, there she is. So I looked down the hall, and there was this pretty young girl in front of her locker doing something. And Chris, my buddy, said, "She's in a pre-med club. We're going to have a field trip. Why don't you come on the field trip?" I said, "But I'm not in pre-med." He says, "Don't worry about it. Come along." So I went on a field trip with the pre-med club, and Chris, my buddy, introduced me to this little girl, if you will, and it evolved into a regular thing.
Do you remember his line early? Did he have a good line or anything? Did he just...
Well, to tell you the truth, I really liked Chris better.
She liked my buddy better, yeah.
After all these years,
Yep.
it comes out.
Oh, yeah.
Right here live on radio. I liked Chris better.
And when he asked me to the prom, I said, "Did Chris ask anyone yet?" He said, yes, he did.
I
but-
told a lie. Chris did not have anybody to go to the prom yet.
You know what? A little white lie once in a while doesn't hurt anybody. How long have you guys been together?
63 years.
63 years. What a milestone.
Incredible, isn't it?
It is incredible. Thank you so much. And Sarah, thank you so much for bringing your grandpa around here. I really look up to him to this day. And you treated me very kindly and showed me stuff when we worked here. And you never forget that stuff. And I want to thank you.
Good. Thank you, Jim. And again, I want to throw a little applause to my lovely little granddaughter who's been just the center of my life, practically. She's so active and so interested in everything I do. She invites me over to her place. We go out to lunch together every now and then. And she's the focal point of my life, more or less, because here she calls me up one day and says, "Peter, Gramps, you're going on WJOB." I said, "What are you talking about?" She says, "I got you all set up to go."
She sent an email, and I forwarded it to Ryan. I said, "Make this happen." I mean, it was such a heartfelt email.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming in, all of you. Don't go anywhere right now. I'm gonna sign off here, and I'm gonna take a picture. Ryan's gonna take a quick picture, and then we're gonna let the next show come. All right, guys. AM 1230 WJLB 104.7 FM, the voice and face of the region. God willing, I'll see you again tomorrow. See ya.
You know, I enjoy